Hey, good morning, guys. It's John Phillips. I'm a little tired. I worked all weekend, harder than I did during the week last week, but it's Monday, about 8:30 in the morning. It's January 23rd, and this is a very special day and date for me. This is my 31st anniversary for my sobriety. 31 years ago, I put a cork in it, and my life is a challenge, but when when you're crippling yourself by drug or alcohol abuse, it's even tougher. So today I'm celebrating 31 years of sobriety. My life prior to being sober was tough. I mean, I always worked. I was a smart kid in school, and during that time I learned a trade. I got my master's license soon after getting sober, a couple years, but my life really started to blossom, and I started to become the person that I was meant to be. Addiction of any, if you're smoking, if you're drinking, you can get addicted to anything, and I'm very, very conscious of that. Even YouTubing, I have to be conscious of the fact that, am I going overboard, like, is it consuming my life like drugs or alcohol used to? So for any of you people out there who are struggling, no matter how old you are, I encourage you to try to, if you want to, it's up to you. If you want to try to improve your life, no matter how old you are, it's never too late to do that. Find yourself a good meeting, find, one that makes you feel comfortable, and just work at it. I remember, I'm going to tell you how this happened for me. I'm going to tell you my sobriety story. I've got a little bit of time. I hope you don't, click off at this point. But I grew, I was a teenager in the 80s when the crack epidemic came through. And unfortunately for me, as a 16-year-old kid, I was turned on to cocaine by somebody who was actually 45 years old, a friend of the family. And I look back at that like, what the fuck was he thinking? I never did anything like that. Tried to, bring people in, especially young people. But so I was kind of surrounded by a crowd of people that and back then it just wasn't, it wasn't something you're worried about, and so anyways, I tried cocaine the first time, and I was off and running for a long time, and I did many things to try to survive that. I actually went in the Navy because I needed to, like, sober up. I mean, a lot of bad things were happening to my friends. They were getting locked up. A couple of them got killed. I come from a pretty rough part of Providence, Rhode Island, and fortunately I survived. I was able to muster up the strength to kind of persevere and eventually get on a solid footing. But I remember I was doing service plumbing for a friend of mine, and honestly, every Friday night I got paid, and me and a couple of guys that I worked with, we'd end up in a bar and we'd drink fucking 50 beers, and then they'd go home and I'd be out all night. That's just how it was. I mean, I was an addict. And so back in 1993, 92, it was like a Friday night, and I spent my whole paycheck doing cocaine, basically. I drank, but cocaine was my drug of choice. And I gave in, man. I was like, you know, I always knew I had a problem. I tried to stop more than a few times, and I always found myself back in the same fucking place, wishing I didn't do it. And if anybody, you know what I'm talking about, if you're an addict or a drug alcoholic. But anyways, it was the 23rd of January, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it was 93 or 92, but I ended up, I brought myself at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I brought myself to a place called First Step. It was free treatment center. I didn't have the money or the insurance to go to a 28-day program. But I went in there at like 5 in the morning, and there was this sweet little old Irish lady, and she was volunteering her time, in a madhouse. Basically, all the people that went there were all fucked up, but she wasn't afraid. She was an angel in my eyes. Anyways, I went in there, and I sat in the office with her. I told her what was going on, how long I had been struggling, and she took down some information. She gave me a bedroll because there were many, many beds, just a big, like a barracks basically in the Navy. And she said, I'm going to give you a shot of B12. And she filled up a vial, a syringe full of B12 and stuck it in my arm. And she said, you can go take this bedroll and this pillow and go sleep as long as you need to. But when you wake up, you need to be going to these meetings that we have here 3 times a day. They had a morning meeting, a noon meeting, and then one at night, probably 6, 7 o'clock. And I did that. I stayed there for 7 days, and I never looked back. And the first meeting that I went to outside of that treatment center, it was a place called Yana Club. You Are Not Alone is what it stands for. I went in there, and they asked if there were any newcomers, and I raised my hand and I said, I'm a newcomer. And one guy who had a lot of sobriety started talking about, well, these are the statistics, bub. Only 3 out of 100 people are going to get sober and stay sober. And at that moment, I said, I'm going to be one of them 3. And it was a real struggle. It was a total lifestyle change. I used to shoot pool. I used to drink ever since I was a kid. I mean, we're Irish. My family owned a friggin' liquor store. I mean, when it was time to have a party at the house, we'd go to the liquor store and pick up 7 cases of fucking beer. Who does that? You know? And I ran a little business on Sundays because you couldn't sell alcohol in Rhode Island on Sundays. So I'd go to take my mother's car, an old Plymouth Valiant with a big ass trunk and a big back seat. And me and my brother, my younger brother, we'd fill that car up with fucking beer, and we'd drive through Roger Williams Park at the Temple to Music, which was just an open field with this beautiful, like, Greek, I don't know what the hell you call it. Anyway, big columns. And we'd make one pass through that place, and we'd unload that whole carload of beer for 3 times what it normally costs, because you couldn't buy it on Sunday. But anyways, it was a struggle early on, getting sober. And like I said, it was a total lifestyle change, because every time I had fun in my life, there was alcohol involved. We just drank for everything. We drank when we were sad. We drank when we were happy. That's just who we were and what we did. And unfortunately, for a lot of my family, they're still doing that. But I think of the money that I've saved. There's an old statement, are you working for your retirement or somebody else's retirement? And if you're going to a bar and spending, a couple $100, $200-300 a week on eating out, and you're working for somebody else's retirement, they're taking your money and they're going to be living high on the hog when they retire. And you're going to look back at your life and say, damn, I spent all my money drinking. But anyways, I'm very happy to be sober. I went to meetings every single day, sometimes twice a day for the first year. And then I started to get comfortable, and I always enjoyed working, so that was a great distraction for me. If you're an alcoholic or an addict and you're not doing anything, you're sitting around the house, you have time is your enemy if you're not busy. And luckily, I've always been a guy who wanted to get out and work and stay busy, so it worked for me. And here I am 31 years later, still sober. And like I said, my life really started to unfold immediately after getting sober. I wasn't dragging my ass into work. I was kind of a weekend warrior with the thing. I hardly ever did it during the week. But, you know, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe not show up for work on Monday. But it's no way to live. It's not good for you physically, mentally. It affects your whole family. And the first thing it takes a long time after you've been an addict or an alcoholic. It takes a long time to regain the trust of your friends and family. And that was one of the big things for me, that, you know, nobody trusted me. Not that I was stealing. I never really got that low where I was actually out stealing shit. I mean, I made a living, and that's what I worked within those confines, but it's not pretty. And if you're an addictive personality, whether it's drugs, alcohol, food, there's a million addictions. And, you know, if you can't stop, you're addicted. Try it. Just say, hey, I'm not going to have that drink at 5 o'clock every night, you know? Give it a shot. See if you can stop. It's tough. And but there are people out there who can do it. They're casual. It's not an issue for them, and I say more power to them. But for me, it's a problem. My family, nobody stopped drinking. Nobody changed their lifestyle to kind of help me out, you know. So I think it was a good thing. They shouldn't. And it just made me tougher, because even though I wasn't drinking, every time I went to a family get-together, there was plenty of alcohol and partying, whatever. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. For you people out there still suffering, find yourself a good meeting, man. You'll be able to get sober, and it takes a lot of work, but it sure as hell is worth it. And I believe that sobriety is the foundation of everything for me. If I lose that, if I go back out, and that's why I won't even have a sip of beer, because it's not worth the risk. And if you are sober and you've got some years under your belt, it's really our duty to, like, recognize people who are struggling and try to help them. Share your story, you know, your experience, strength, and wisdom. That helps people, man. I know, you know, I've had some people work for me who are sober now, and man, I'm proud of them. And you can just see they're back. They're human again. You know what I mean? And it's a great thing, sobriety. The main thing is to find a meeting and surround yourself with people who are going to help you out. And unfortunately, when you get sober, you may have to get rid of a lot of friends that you've had for a long time, because they're unwilling to change, and it's just going to be that much harder for you to get sober and stay sober if you're still hanging around in the same circles. Family, what are you going to fucking do? You know, you're stuck with them. But friends, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Anyways, I hope that this helps somebody. And if you got any questions or you want to talk more about it, my number's all over the side of my fucking truck. It ain't no big secret where I am or who I am and how to get in touch with me. And as a matter of fact, I've gotten lots and lots of calls from people, subscribers, and I enjoy it. They're very happy with watching the videos that I put up, and to get to the point where they want to actually call and talk to somebody, I think that's a great thing. And that just it's kind of a validation for me, you know, in a way that I'm doing something good and I should continue to do it. Anyways, God bless you all, and I hope you have a great day. It's Monday morning, 8:48, January 23rd, 2023. 31 years of sobriety. I got to go pick up my new chip. I got a 30-year chip. And I was thinking, well, 30 is a big milestone. I'm going to keep that, but I typically give my sobriety chip away to somebody. Like, I gave one to a girl friend of mine, and she only had a couple of years sobriety, and I think I gave her my 25-year chip. And I said, you know, this is something to work towards, you know. This is, you hang on to that chip, and when you get to 25, hopefully you'll have that chip and you'll be able to think, I made it, and John gave me this chip. Anyways, alright guys, that's enough of that. I'm going to cut this off, because this is going to be one video, but now I'm going to get back to, I got to go to work, Jack. Hey, I left out a very important part of my sobriety story. I've talked about my, you know, when I was 12, my brother got killed in a car accident. He was only 21 years old, but he too had issues with drugs and alcohol, but he was my idol, man. My father wasn't around, and my mom and dad got divorced. I grew up, you know, my father was just not there for me. But anyways, my brother was. My brother Gus. That's why I named my dog Gussie. Anyways, today is my brother Gus's birthday, and it happens to be my sobriety date. And I always viewed that. I always, you know, when he passed away, I always thought I had a guardian angel. You know, I had somebody upstairs looking out for me. And just the fact that I'm still here is a testament to that. But anyways, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my brother Gus, and that today is his birthday. And I honestly believe in my heart that he reached down on that night and said, you're done, buddy. You're not gonna kill yourself with this shit. And he dragged me into that rehab center, and I believe that it's coming. Yeah. I'll just tell you, it means a lot. Sorry about that, guys. Serious shit, though.